fact remains that on our world exist megalithic and monolithic features that we can't currently understand. The size, scale, shaping and idea of raising enormous stone materials that current technologies are not designed to shift is mind-boggling to us. The separation from the wisdom builders into our time proves undoubtedly and utterly overwhelming that there is a loss in technological understanding. Think about this. The unfinished obelisk was abandoned at the quarry, apparently because it developed a flaw and therefore would not resonate. And if that is the case, then the unfinished obelisk is an apparatus and not simply a monument. Wait till you hear this. Were the people of the Egyptian region trying to harness energies in the synchrotron light of the Squatter Man? We should be looking at the possibility that if an ancient civilization had the know-how to do things that we cannot currently comprehend, then perhaps they were more advanced than us, and the separation by cataclysmic occurrences is responsible for these widespread undertakings before the plasma rained onto the earth. The technologies lost as the world melted and the survivors forced into the earth for shelter. The unfinished obelisk would have been the biggest obelisk of the ancient world if they had managed to raise it, and rivals the famous lighthouse of Chassiron in height at 140 feet tall. An obelisk making technology in ancient Egypt is an archaeological matter that is not entirely understood. The sheer weight of this obelisk at 1,200 tons means that it was not only the biggest obelisk in Egypt, but also one of the heaviest stones ever carved out of the bedrock by the hand of an ancient civilization. The megalithic questions it throws up is both the how and the why. We don't know how they would have transported and raised it, dragging and floating aside, and we don't know why they wanted to erect it. The nature of the structure does suggest it could have been used to conduct energies, but this understanding is long forgotten, and the only clear evidence remaining is that they were influenced by events perceived in the sky, and from that notion we surmise the Squatter Man influence. To even begin to understand what the obelisk meant to ancient Egyptians, we must go back to the moment when ancient Egyptians believed time began. And before this moment, there was nothing, no time, no space, only complete darkness and the limitless primeval waters. And Egyptian history tells us that the world was created when Atum, the creator god, brought himself into being, and a mound of earth, called the Benben, emerged from the waters. Earth was differentiated from water, light from darkness, space from nothingness. And on the primeval mound, Atum, who is associated with the sun god Ra, began to multiply, bringing into being two children who in turn had their own children and grandchildren until there were 9 original gods, and the world, as ancient Egyptians knew it, began. And they tell us in no uncertain terms that their gods manifested. This was the unmoved mover Ra, and all other gods in the pantheon manifest from him as the Squatter Man event unfolds. And Egyptians didn't call obelisks obelisks. Egyptians called obelisks tekhenu, and tekhenu literally translates as to pierce the sky. Isn't that sensational? As many will already know, obelisks, or tekhenu as the Egyptians called them, are tapering 4-sided rectangular pillars with a peridion on top and made from highly conductive materials. But what do you guys think about this one anyway? Comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.
To have the force to strike at it, you don't. So that blows, it doesn't matter how many, again it's like in Peru, it doesn't matter how many people you have working at it, it's just silly to think that it was done by hand. All these scoops that we see are completely different than the conventional way of cutting and shaping granite in ancient times, and so it looks very much like there was some kind of scooping machine or mechanism that was able to cut out what this is. And this is thank you. This is an unprecedented opportunity to look at one of the greatest achievements in situ. Inside we have the pit, one of the pits, and these are dolerite pounders. These are hard stone balls that would have been theoretically used to shape it, but the material is too hard for that to be an explanation. Again, very similar to what we see in Peru, evidence of ancient machining technology, and it's very fortunate that it's unfinished because it allows us to see the process in action. Okay? And it's why you need to bring engineers and geologists and other technical experts to a site like this to look at such a thing, because it has to be approached in a multidisciplinary way. It can't be done by one field of knowledge.